Jury's ready to go. It's 9 o'clock. Please remember everyone to please get here so we can start on time. Appreciate it. Counsel for plaintiff, can we have your appearances, please?
Of course, Your Honor. Good morning. Teddy Parker, Will Kemp, and Aaron Pepperman on behalf of plaintiffs. And we have some of our clients here, as you can see, Your Honor. Mr. Hunwardsen, Ms. Brody, and Ms. Sosa here.
Your Honor, I wanted to alert you that Mr. Hunwardsen is probably going to leave when Dr. Hudson starts because he'd rather not hear the testimony.
We've already told the jury that people are going to be coming in and out, so it's out.
I just wanted you to know.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, you all have been coming in and out. Court's perfectly fine with it. The only thing is, as far as the seating location, you may just want to make sure that it's not disruptive to other people, right? So if other people are seated, just do that. That's all we ask. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for the heads up. Counsel for Real Water, would I think your opinion?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Joel Odou for Real Water. I have also counsel Mark Love, Matt Kaufman, and Eric Freeman, also representing the Real Water defendants.
Okay. Counsel for ETT, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Dan Boho on behalf of ETT. Also participating today, Valerie Rojas, Dan Waite, and Jan Tomasic.
Appreciate it. Now, Porter, do we have blue jeans on because people are supposed to be able to listen
Yes.
to blue jeans? Okay. It's just right now you have it on doc cam. Is that why it's black?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We do appreciate it. Thanks so much. Everybody's ready to bring the jury in, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I wanted to alert the court also that I'm going to move to admit 3 exhibits at the very beginning of this testimony, and that is the 3 complaints, 2014 complaints. They're real water documents. I don't think there's going to be objections from Real Water, but I just wanted to alert the court to that because I didn't want to get into an extended discussion.
So these are, well, first off, do we have now the accurate exhibit list that you all were required to provide the court by last week?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Remember there was an issue, Mr. Odou said that they're not calling you out, it's just you're the one that actually raised the issue that you thought there was more stipulated than was on the list. And so that's why the court's asking, because to this court's knowledge, we did not receive a new one. And so, counsels, did you all assert that you somehow provided to the clerk that she never got a new exhibit list that reflected all the stipulated exhibits? Counsels for plaintiff, did you provide anything?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr.
I'm asking
Pepperman,
you
question?
what happened.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Pepper. I just need each side to say. Okay, is anyone from plaintiff saying that you provided a new one?
No, Your Honor, there hasn't been a new one provided.
Real Water, did you all provide anything to the clerk?
Your Honor, Joel Odou for Real Water. Not yet, Your Honor. We're still working on it.
Okay, but counsel, we can't have this. Okay? It was very clearly articulated to each of you all.
Yes.
Was it not? This was
Yes.
due at the time of the calendar call. EDCR 2.69 shall result, right? Mandatory language.
These are not the ones from the calendar call, Your Honor. These are the ones that the parties have met during trial and have agreed will be admitted via stipulation going forward.
Okay, then how does the court know about said?
The
Not
goal,
that you
Your Honor,
realize you have all your members of the public outside waiting to start until the 9 o'clock. They're here timely, promptly ready to go. You all were directed to ensure that we had an accurate one.
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready to proceed. I was just informing the court that during the course of trial, the plaintiffs have asked to introduce additional exhibits. If we have no objection, we don't to some of them. We worked over the weekend on some of them, and it will make it go quicker. So I'm just informing the court as we go, there will be exhibits, and our goal is to actually give the clerk a list as they come up, and we can move quicker. That's all, Your Honor.
But you can't do it that way because the clerk has to have one. We already discussed this last week, right?
That's fine,
You
Your
all
Honor.
have done enough trials. You know you can't keep on changing the official exhibit list because it's.
We are not. It's not changing, Your Honor. This is, so in other words, I'll give the court an example. Plaintiffs will want to move into evidence exhibit 256. We'll reach an agreement ahead of time that that can come into evidence to move it quicker. That's all we're talking about now. We're not new exhibits, not new agreements. These are as they come up.
Right.
There is no objection. We're trying to work those out ahead of time just to make it go quicker. That's all, Your Honor.
Counsel, I thought you made a statement last week, did you not, that you thought the stipulated exhibit column in what was provided to the court during the course of trial, right, the amended one, did not include all of the ones that had been stipulated and amended as of that time. That's what the court's referencing. I'm not, obviously,
Okay.
the court not referencing things it doesn't yet know about. I wasn't with
Yes.
you all over the weekend, okay? So I have no idea what you all did over the weekend. So what the court is referencing is what was represented in court last week. that the exhibit list provided by plaintiffs was not completely accurate because it was not exhaustive of all the documents that had been stipulated admitted. And that was why the court then said, ensure, first the court had asked,
Yes, Your Honor.
actually directed the parties to whatever the amended one was, meet beforehand before you submitted it. But then once it was submitted, as you recall last week, the issue came up about whether or not that was exhaustive. So I'm talking about a retrospective viewpoint, not a prospective one, because the court doesn't know what's not yet brought to its attention. The court's referring to the documents that were told last week that there was going to be a new exhibit list to accurately reflect what should be in the stipulated column when it was first provided to the court.
That has been resolved, Your Honor,
And
to our
where that list-
satisfaction.
So is the list that the clerk was provided by plaintiffs, the amended one, the sole scope of the stipulated
Yes.
admitted, the stipulated admitted exhibits as of that date?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, counsel for ETT, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor. The one I have in front of me has some of the stipulations, but, for example, 256, we had no objection to, but Real Water did, but I understand
Okay,
that's just an example of what might be stipulated to during the course of the
right. You understand what may happen in the future we'll address as it comes up. But the clerk has to have an accurate listing of what is as of the time period when things are coming up, right? Because you don't want to have what happened last week when there was a question about whether I believe it was proposed exhibit 7 was stipulated or not stipulated. And unfortunately, our jury had to spend a lot of time. It was unnecessary if you all, then we went to the issue of, as a result of that, you all had different lists, different examples, which is why this court was very clear in saying we need everyone to figuratively and literally please be on the same page as to, and this is directed to everyone, so that we know what is stipulated and not stipulated, okay? Because you don't want to have exhibits go in front of the jury that aren't stipulated, admitted, because they can't, okay? We don't want to repeat that. We don't want you all to have a mistrial. We're trying incredibly hard, despite multiple rule violations consistently, to have you all have a nice, clean, clear trial. So that's really where the court's going. So are you in agreement that the exhibit list provided to the clerk that only has a few stipulated exhibits? Hold on, Madam Clerk.
This is weird. That page is weird.
In what way?
So they give you, for plaintiffs are 1 through 1,000 or something, and then Real Water's 2,000, and ETT's 3,000, and then I have that at the end, which is a jumble, and I'm confused.
Okay. Madam Clerk, I believe is referencing, you have a whole series of videos that you all decided to, videos, things you call tangible, etc., which are not in sequential order as required by the rules. It's not department requirements, folks. These are the same things you all have been doing for your decades of practice. I mean, keep your exhibits in the order that they are numerically, right? 1,000 was plaintiffs, right? 2,000s were Real Water, and the 3,000s were ETTs. So anything that was in plaintiffs grouping should have been numerically in plaintiffs grouping. Doesn't matter if it's a PDF, a video, or a tangible. So counsel for plaintiff, can someone please explain this so that our wonderful clerk can actually have an exhibit list? And remember, we still don't, is there a reason we still don't have pagination?
Since it's ordered, 1 through,
Remember the court specifically asking you to spend the 5 seconds to push the insert pages button on this?
Your Honor, I asked my staff about that. My understanding was because it was an Excel printout that they weren't able to go beyond just the order of the exhibit.
Counsel, we know that's not accurate. Do you know how many think of all the Excel printouts you've done in the past?
I can ask
You
them
have
again.
your own tech expert. Defendants have their own tech experts. Are they really going to say within the skill of their expertise that nobody could put pages, even if you hand wrote them and Xeroxed them, right, and then saved it as a PDF? It was a simple request, right, so that we could actually, how many pages is this exhibit list? It's not correct, but how many pages is it? Counsel, do you know?
I don't know the exact
Counsel for
number.
Real Water, do you know how many pages this is?
Not without looking on my computer, Your Honor. I can't tell from the document itself.
Counsel for ETT, do you know how many pages it is?
No, Your Honor.
Well, we know it's more than 15, right? The rules are very clear about paginating, right? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop the trial till you all decide to get this correct. That seems to be the only answer, because you can't ask the clerk. I mean, why are these on the last pages? These things that say external drive, and these things, I mean, the last page it says video, intangible. Why are they not in plaintiff's grouping? You're supposed to go from one page and then an unnumbered some other page and try and find it. And counsel, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but you understand we've gone over this pre-calendar call. Calendar, I mean, I went over right so that we made sure before the calendar call, it wasn't just a large case, had enough status checks to make sure these were all taken care of. Calendar call, post-calendar call, starting trial, and then again last week. And yet the various, and then did you give the court even a heads up? Guess what we submitted to the clerk, and we disregarded the fact that we asked you, you asked us specifically to have pagination?
You told me that it couldn't paginate it.
But nobody told the court, did you? I mean, come on.
No, Your Honor, my apologies for that. Just
So how many court orders are you all going to violate? And that's a global question, because now it looks like we have to go back to motion limiting number 14, don't we? On the record. How many court orders are you all going to continue to violate? That's the reason why the court is thinking that it needs to pause this trial, because realistically, I don't want to, because we've got members of the public outside, okay, and it's not fair to them. But folks, can you answer the question on why the last page has got things that should have been numerically done?
Your Honor, my understanding was that with the exhibit lists and exhibits that were submitted electronically through the vault, that was limited to only the PDF exhibits, not the videos, which had to be separated, submitted separately to the clerk. My understanding from what my office did was to keep the exhibit list that was submitted to the vault with the electronic exhibits the same. They added the videos on at the end. That clearly in hindsight was a mistake. What I could do is have my office change the Excel list to a PDF list, put the exhibits on the end in the correct order, and make sure there are paginations, and get the revised list down to the court.
You understand how easy that is, right, on the computer? Save Excel as PDF, save it as Word, save it as a lot of different other things?
Yes, Your Honor. I think they were more concerned about keeping it the same that was submitted to the vault, but obviously that was a mistake. My
Sending it
apologies.
incorrectly to the vault doesn't make it correct to this court,
I
right?
understand that, Your Honor.
It was incorrectly submitted to the vault. The vault doesn't deal with, the vault, right, checks, the only thing the vault does, right, is checks your electronic exhibits. It's a process by which that's been the designated area to check your electronic exhibits. I don't think you're saying that somehow there's a modification to the EDCR that says you should do a different exhibit list for purposes of the vault, anybody at the vault. You're saying the one person who works at the vault told you something differently? Please let me know. Are you saying that?
I wasn't the one who spoke to the people at the vault, Your Honor.
They would not have the authority, nor did they tell people how to do their exhibit list, because the exhibit lists go to the clerk in their department.
Yes, Your Honor. I can make sure we get the list amended and down to the court immediately.
And realistically, none of your firms decided to comply with the court's order on pagination. Nobody else has any experience in your multiple nationwide firms to put in page numbers on an exhibit list. Counsel for Will Water, you couldn't have done it either. And ask ET the same thing with all the firms you all have.
Good morning, I'm Joel Odou for Real Water. I did not notice that this did not have page numbers until the court raised it just now. I didn't notice that when it was handed to me on Friday.
But you understood the court gave a specific directive that everyone needed to comply with. Did anyone care about looking to see if anyone was complying with the directive?
Yes, Your Honor, I just didn't notice it didn't have page numbers.
And how about the last couple of pages not being in order? You didn't notice that either, counsel?
No,
No
Your
one on your
Honor.
team did? All four, I don't remember how many attorneys you have, but ETT, how about you all?
Valerie Rojas for ETT, Your Honor. I did notice the end being out of order. I thought that's how we were required to do it, given that we could not submit those pieces of evidence to the vault.
Did you check with your local council since you're admitted pro hoc BJ?
Your Honor, I don't believe I checked with him on that specific issue, and I did not notice that it was not paginated until I was looking through it.
And you understand the concern here, think of the time unfortunately the court's having to take for a simple thing that either you could have saved as PDF, inserted page numbers, saved as a Word. In fact, in the time I'm talking, any of your tech people could have been doing it right now. Right? It's a simple thing. And the fact that the court gave a specific directive and nobody wants to comply with that or any other directive, it appears, there's multiple directives that are non-compliant. And if you recall, the court reminded you all and asked you all to please comply, right? Remember the please comply, please comply, please comply? Please ensure before things are submitted to the court that they actually comply with the rules. I'm not going to put somebody else on the spot who's now here sitting in the gallery, but we walked through this with everybody. So I'm adding this to the list of sanctions that I'm going to have to address during the trial at a convenient time for each of the parties non-compliance with court orders, because I'm not going to keep our ladies and gentlemen of the jury outside in the hallway even longer, because attorneys realistically can't do a simple thing like submit a correct exhibit list. So, Mr. Kemp, while I appreciate the fact you said something, you can say, where are we going to find it? Whatever you're asking about. Tell us how we can find what we can in this massive document to what you're talking about.
55, 56, and 57 have always been on the exhibit list. Those are the three.
Where? Which page?
I don't have the exhibit list here, Mr. Pepperman, do you know?
That's the point, Mr. Kemp. You understand is we're going to have to go flipping through page by page by page by
It's on the
page.
third page, Your Honor. Page 30.
So are you asking this clerk on her own time and overtime to somehow have to go back and redo and yet another exhibit list? And
Well, Your
all the
Honor, I
markings?
was advising the court that I'm going to move to admit these in
Right, but we don't have an
anticipating-
accurate
Excuse me?
exhibit list, right? So everything she writes down, she's gonna have to redo because you all chose not to provide something accurate.
Well, Judge, we would be happy to put the ruling on these three on the new one.
That doesn't fit.
It's fine with me, I don't mind moving it, it's just I don't know how to stamp, because I have to stamp the electronic exhibits, and if, for the first day left truck, like, when do I stamp the pre-admitted? Is that when I get the new list, were all of the ones that were on the screen pre-admitted?
Your Honor, this one is not pre-admitted. That's why I brought it up, because we have to move to admit it.
Right, but counsel, you understand that's why the court had to go back. It was so very, very important before we started with any witnesses to know what was pre-admitted, the full scope, particularly since you had one of the attorneys for one of the parties saying that the pre-admitted was not the full scope, because bless you, you understand the clerk had to do all of this prior to you having any witnesses because of the whole stamping protocol, the whole aspect in order to get these taken care of in a proper format, because you can appreciate she's multitasking a lot of other things during the course of the trial.
Your
So,
Honor, this will solve the problem. I will personally handwrite the page numbers on as many copies as you want after the
counsel,
service.
that's not the only issue. You understand you have them out of order. You decided on your own, your firm somehow decided on their own, according to Mr. Pepperman, that they wanted to put things that were supposed to be in the grouping with plaintiffs, somehow in the back section, it's not even marked as being plaintiffs, or anything's just thrown in the end.
Your Honor, we'll do whatever you want us to do.
It's not what I want you all to follow the rules, is what you all were asked to do. It's really as simple as that. I'm not asking you to do anything more than the rules dictate. Okay? An accurate exhibit list was supposed to be presented at the time of the calendar call. That's really as simple as it is. Go to the last page, Mr. Kemp. You can see what the issue is. It's a separate issue, it's just the pagination, it's not a new issue like that. You go to the last two
I
pages.
have the last two pages, Your Honor.
You see how it's got exhibits, starting in the 200s, just thrown in there?
I do the videos, Your Honor.
But they're on the 300s or after the 3000s, right? So all the plaintiffs ones have to be in the plaintiff section. All the real water ones need to be in the real water section. And you can't just insert these because of the way that this is done. you can't just magically like handwrite in a whole bunch of these, because for boxing, there's no space, there's nothing to do. So that's why you're supposed to have an accurate, right, exhibit list. There's no such thing as a section that people just put in whatever extra stuff they want to put in at the end. Do you understand? There's no way to insert it separately. It's not like you left a blank page and it could be inserted. It's not like it's just one or two, right? It's about counting up the columns. It looks like it's at least, and they're not even in order, because if you look at the very, very last page, see how it's a mixture of ones that go into plaintiff's section, and then go into real water section. See, it goes from a 651 to a 2006, and then it goes to an ET&T one, 3080, and a 3081, then it goes back to a 252. It's not, that's what I'm saying, it's needed to be done correctly, because no one can follow that, because all the plaintiffs, one right, go in a section for plaintiffs, because you know that matters depending what motion practice may happen with regards to exhibits that are admitted or not admitted. Any motion practice that may come before the court.
Your Honor, could I suggest that we move to admit them, and then we add them as amended when we do the new list?
I think you're not
That's all.
understanding the complexity. That may sound easy from an attorney standpoint, but you're not appreciating, and the reason why the rules are such is because of everything that needs to be done from the more bigger global court. Not myself, fortunately, I don't have to address this issue specifically, but the clerk's office does, the court clerk does, and there's a lot of work that goes into in order to ensure that you all have an accurate record, which you're precluding by not doing this with the exhibit list with regards to exhibits. Therein lies the challenge. That's why they can't be jumbled in back and forth, right? Because
I understand, Your Honor, to get around the problem, I will move to pre-admit the three exhibits another time. Your Honor, I will just pull them off of my presentation day so we can get going, so the jury has to.
the court's not
I will use
requiring,
no exhibits whatsoever with this witness.
the court's not requiring that. I'm trying to find out if there's a solution. Okay. Could whoever's coming on remotely, can you please make sure you mute yourself, because we are in the middle of a hearing, please, and we want to make sure that everyone gets a nice, clean, clear record. But not asking anyone to do or not do anything. We're trying to find how we can do this, because there's what you have done after, and when I say you, that means all parties, because all parties have a responsibility to get in the exhibit list correctly. All parties have a responsibility to get handed a document. You know this, not just assume it's correct, particularly when the court case asked you all to comply with the rules. It's not the first, second, or third time to really do that. So, counsel, what's
I
your
will use
requirements one way or another? I'm going to let you move forward.
Thank you.
But I will tell you, I'm putting this on the series of sanctionable conduct has really gotten very, very concerning. There's multiple violations, folks.
Judge, we have no problem making contributions to the work we do.
You understand that? You got, there it is.
No, I understand, Your Honor. I don't need
You all are
my-
messing up your record, okay? So all your appellate counsel that may be sitting here, you all are choosing to violate different rules, which is messing up your record. It's really simple as that. I was trying not to do these where we're having multiple people who are observing, but it's gotten to a point that I can't just ask you all at bench anymore. Please fix things. Marshall, please bring in our jury. Counsel said they're ready. That's correct, counsel. You said you're ready to proceed. Is that correct? Mr. Kemp, is that correct? You said you're ready to proceed?
I'm ready to proceed.
Marshall, let's go get the jury. Court's not taking a position. We're going to see what happens. We're going to address the sanctionable component. I presume you all are directed people at your firms to get this fixed right now, right, while you're trying to...
Mr. Pepperman is on it right now.
Not just Mr. Pepperman, it's all counsel.
We already
to do
are
it,
ETT.
right? I mean,
Yes, Your Honor.
Marshall, we are ready.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you for
Thank you so
standing,
very
everybody.
much.
Come on in, folks.
Should I get with this or Marshall?
Please enter quietly, okay? Come on in.
You didn't ask me before the jury, so, okay. Marshall?
Yes.
Once the jury's in, come on, give a witness. I'm gonna ask counsel, counsel, would you like to state who your witness is?
Your name is Anthony Randolph.
Okay. Anthony Randolph, Marshall, do you understand there's witness on the hall? Mr. Randolph wants to jury signature on the getting it?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Your Honor, all members of the jury are present. Everyone, please be seated. I'll give Mr. Randolph.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone had nice, relaxing weekends. There was a lot going on this weekend, I hear, so hopefully everyone was enjoying whatever you chose to enjoy. And hopefully if you're sports fans, your teams won, or at least you enjoyed games, or if you're not sports fans, and hopefully you might have enjoyed the lovely weather we have this weekend. So a lot better than other parts of the country right now. So counsel, just so we have clear, sorry, you said Mr. Randolph, right?
Anthony Randolph.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Okay. Is this agreement by agreement of parties? He's bringing something to the table?
Your Honor, these are the documents that we use to refresh his recollection if necessary. I've given each and every one of these documents to opposing counsel.
Okay, thank you. And the witness understands, well, let's let him get sworn in the last question.
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under pain of penalty of perjury?
Yes.
You may have a seat, and please state and spell your name for the record.
Anthony Randolph, ANTHONY, RANDOLPH.
Thanks, man. And just a couple things, give you a couple heads up. First thing, yes, that phone is completely off, correct? Otherwise it will interfere. It'll be. Mr. Randolph's court of law, I need to make sure your phone's completely off, just like the sign said outside, okay? Appreciate that. Next thing is, appreciate that you were enjoying our nice, wonderfully comfortable witness chair. But one of the things our wonderful court recorder is going to remind you is going to need you seated forward near a microphone so we can hear you, okay? Another couple of things is sometimes for people who've not testified a lot in court is people have a tendency sometimes to do shrugs of their shoulders, nods their heads, do uh-huhs, uh-uhs, and those can't really be recorded well, so we ask you always give a verbal answer. And you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, appreciate it. So the next thing is that to the extent you were given a binder, only if you're asked by any of the counsel to open that up would you do so, okay?
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Counsel, feel free to.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
Mr. Randolph. You work at Real Water at one point,
Yes.
and prior to working at Real Water, can you tell the jury a little bit about your background, what you were doing?
I was in the car business for 10 years, right out of high school. Then I got into the mortgage business. I think I was in the car business from 93 to 2003. Got into the mortgage business in 2003. I think I was in the mortgage business until like 2008. I don't know the exact dates. Then I started working for a professional athlete. Used to travel back and forth to Big Bear a lot. And then I began working for Real Water.
Let's try to figure that out. Who was the professional athlete you worked with?
A boxer by the name of Shane Wilson.
Okay, and Mr. Mosley, did he have a fight with Mr. Pacquiao?
He did.
And if I told you that was 2011, would that kind of help your timing here? That
I
fight
did
was
not
in
work. I did not work with Shane when he fought Pacquiao.
Okay. Who won that fight?
Pacquiao.
All right, so does that help you figure out when you started with Real Water?
Well, my last fight that I worked with Shane was his Margarita fight. I just don't recall the year, but we can look it up.
Okay, so sometime before the 2011 Mosley Pacquiao fight, that's when you started with Real Water?
Before, yes.
Okay, so sometime in 2009, 2010?
I would assume yes.
Okay, all right. And when you were employed by Real Water, what was your job position?
I started off just as a salesperson and eventually received the title of, I think, a VP of sales.
And in general, what were your duties and responsibilities?
I was hired to sell the product and build the Las Vegas territory. And then I eventually started building it more on a national level. But I did a little bit of everything in between. We were a small company, so just because you were in sales didn't mean you didn't also work in marketing a little bit and going go in the back and help the guys out if they need help in the back. So he did a little bit of everything. We were real smart.
And when you were at Real Water, did you have any involvement with a company known as Terrible Herbst?
I did.
And can you tell me when you started having involvement with Terrible Herbst?
Again, I don't know the dates. However, being in sales, that was one of the accounts that I kind of took over. I didn't initiate, I didn't start the sale. I wasn't the procuring cause of the reason why Terrible Herbst was selling Real Water, but I got involved as it was handed over to me to try to grow the business at Terrible Herbst.
It was your understanding that someone else initiated the account with Terrible Herbst?
Yeah, they were already conducting business with Real Water, not much, but conducting business with Real Water prior to my involvement.
And you took over the account?
Yes,
Was it just you or you and other people?
I was mainly the only salesperson. I mean, I've obviously talked to the owner of the company and things of that nature when it came to strategizing and things of that nature.
The owner of Real Water or the owner of Terrible Herbst?
Oh, I'm sorry. The owner of Real Water,
Who would that be?
Brent Jones.
And showing you Exhibit 28, which is admitted, Your Honor.
Excuse me.
Can you see that? Can you see that, Mr. Rent? Is that on your screen?
Yes.
Well, that's also good book if you want to look at it. It's tab 1 in the book. See that?
Yes.
Okay. And you've seen that letter before?
Yes.
And with regards to the in-store videos, what is that?
Terrible's, just like other retailers, have means to kind of advertise your product inside their locations. So the
Some
in-store
sort of
video,
TV screen?
yeah, in-store, or it could be outdoors, it can be indoors, it can be just on their premises, where brands sometimes get the opportunity to advertise.
And this letter is dated September 2010, and it talks about in-store videos. Do you know when in-store videos for Real Water first went to the Terrible Herbst store?
After 2010, according to this, I don't recall a date when it.
And you see them yourself with your eyes, you saw the in-store videos?
Yeah, we had videos on the screens at Terrible Herbst at one point.
I mean, you went into the Terrible Herbst stores and saw these videos playing with your own eyes.
Yes, I've seen them.
Okay, thank you. Now, this letter is directed to someone named Mark Walters at Terrible Herbst. You see that?
Yes,
Who is Mark Walters?
he was the buyer, the purchasing
Okay.
person for Terrible Herbst.
And as you understand it, how does that work? A buyer, you're a manufacturer? Can you explain to me how that works?
Can I ask a question real quick? Who do I look at? I mean,
Okay.
I
Usually I
kind of,
stand, usually I try to stand over here so you naturally look at the jury. But, you know, I just can't move this thing. Okay?
All right, no.
Yeah, try to look at the jury, because the jury is.
I got it. What was the question?
Can you hear him okay?
Yes.
Okay, can you explain to the jury how this buyer, Terrible Herbst and Real Water, how that basically works?
Okay, when you have a product to sell, you need someone to buy it. So all stores, whether it be big or small, have someone that makes a buying decision on what products they bring to that store. Obviously, when you're dealing with someone like Terrible Herbst, they usually hire a person that is their responsibility to make decisions to bring product into stores. So as a brand and as a salesperson for the brand, we knock on, or we try to have meetings and get in front of the buyer to all the stores so we can show them our product and try to get them to make a decision on bringing our product into their establishments for retail purposes.
So Mr. Walters was the buyer for Terrible Herbst.
Yes,
Did you meet with Mr. Walters
yes.
over the years on how many different occasions?
A couple times a year. I don't know exactly how many times I met with him.
10, 15, 20?
Over the years, because I was with the company for a long time, I would say probably over 20 times. Maybe.
Okay, and when you met with Mr. Walters, where did you meet him?
I mean, we may have done lunch, we may have, I met at, well, either his office or I'm thinking that we probably did lunch a couple times as well, but,
And his office would be the Terrible Herbst Executive Office.
yes,
Yes, but you actually went to the Terrible Herbst Executive Office
yes,
to meet with Mr. Walters.
yes.
Did you meet with other Terrible Herbst persons at the Executive Office?
I'm pretty sure at one time or another, there were, maybe
Mr. Brady,
one of
perhaps?
the marketing managers or somebody, possibly, I can't recall exactly who, but
Okay, we'll get to that. Now, this is carbon copy to a man named Mark Valenti. You see that?
yes, I do.
Was Mr. Valenti with another entity that was involved in this?
Yeah, now that, I think Mark Valente was kind of I really don't know what his role was, to be honest with you, but he had something to do with Terribles and the marketing as far as the videos what I'm aware of.
Was Mr. Valenti with Cormark?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So you think he was some sort of video person?
I think he was an independent, possibly a broker. I don't know. I don't know what his actual title or what his involvement.
Okay. Now, Terrible Herbst was a large customer.
One of them, yes.
Do you remember approximately how many stores they had?
Back then, maybe 130, 100.
Okay. Were they an important customer of Real Water?
Well, anytime you have an opportunity to have your product into a big chain, I mean, every account is important, but you want to land, a chain with that does a lot of volume. So Terrible Herbst was definitely an important customer.
Okay. Did you discuss marketing strategies with Mr. Walters?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay. Did you develop a game plan to sell Real Water at Terrible Herbst to Mr. Walters?
I would, we eventually, but when you say we developed a game plan, it's kind of more of us as the brand coming up with a strategy. We may listen to what a buyer or anyone says that we are, anything that they say, but we have to come up with a game plan as the brand, and then we present it to the buyers and see if they will do it.
Can I have Mr. Randolph's deposition, please?
You guys can open it?
Let me just see. You're asking if you published? Mr. Kemp, you're asking if the deposition you published, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you understand, anytime somebody asks to publish, that really means open court, okay? And I always have to check with the other parties just to see if there's any objection. I'm not hearing any objection, I'm not seeing anyone stand up, so I'll see that one. None, feel free to publish the deposition.
Thank you.
Oh, let me find out from a process standpoint, first, like things, oftentimes we won't stamp the deposition until there's actually a break, unless you want the clerk to do it.
Raise fine, Your Honor.
Does that work for everybody? That's agreeable to all parties? I need verbal response.
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes, Your Honor.
On behalf of,
Real Water Air Treatment, thank you.
thank you.
Valerie Rojas on behalf of VTT, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Somebody will move that, okay.
You bet.
Thank you.
So it's just a standard process, because, making sure that it is the depot, not saying it wouldn't be, but we just kind of, it's part of the formalities of the court process. Okay, go ahead, counsel, for the
Sir,
next
would
question.
you look at page 46, line 11, please? Just read that to yourself, line 11 and 12.
Okay.
Now, does that refresh your recollection as to whether you and Mr. Walters established a game plan?
Well, when I sat in your office that day, you had mentioned that I'll get an opportunity to review my deposition. And this is my first time seeing it since I sat down. So, and what this says here, it does say that you asked me a question, you and Mr. Walters established a game plan, and I said yes. he was supportive of the brand at one point, yes.
That's true, you established a game plan with it.
Yeah, what I said earlier is that when you're speaking to buyers, they may give you pointers and tips and things of that nature that we can try to utilize, but the brand has to come up with a strategy, and we present it to the buyer and get them to agree to it or not.
Well, let's take a look at page 33, lines 18 through 20. Another one of your answers, please, and see if that refreshes your recollection.
You said 18?
Page 33, line 18 through 20.
Yep.
Okay. Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes, the same answer that I just gave you. I mean, it's the same thing.
Same thing. You and Mr. Walters established a game plan, right?
No, we strategize, we talk, he don't come up with the actual game plan. So he may give us, you know, advice or throw things out there, ideas, but the brand is the one that has to establish the actual game plan and present it to the buyer to get the buyer to say yes or no.
Now, other than Mr. Walters, did you actually meet with members of the Herbst family?
No.
Okay. Did you,
I might have met the sons or somebody, but I don't recall.
did Mr. Walters discuss with you whether or not one of the members of the Herbst family liked real water?
Yes.
What was that discussion?
It was just talked about that I believe it was the owner's wife drank the water and liked the product. And
The owner of Terrible Herbst.
the owner of Terrible Herbst, the wife of the owner of Terrible Herbst.
Now, you were on a first-name basis with Mr. Walters. You called him Mark,
I would call him Mark or Walters.
and what do you call you?
I would hope he called me Anthony.
Great. What is a 2 for 3 in terms of promos?
Where you buy 2 products and it's for $3.
So that you get 2 bottles of real water for $3?
Yes,
Did you run a 2 for 3 promo and
yes.
during what time period?
I don't know the time periods, but we ran it and we ran it for probably a couple years, few years.
Did Mr. Walters prove that?
Yes.
Was Mr. Walters kind of a mentor to you on how retail sales work?
In my early stages, when I first started meeting with him, and always, I'm a sponge and I want to learn. So, yes, he was very knowledgeable. To get an opportunity to meet with Mr. Walters because of the size of the chain is, already, you got to go in there with open ears and make sure you pay attention to everything. And so you can get that opportunity to, in my case, grow the business within the chain. Was he a mentor? No. I didn't know Mr. Walters on a personal level. It was strictly on the business level. And again, over the 12, 13 years I worked at Real Water, I may have met with him 20 times. And it's very standard for a brand that's in any chain to meet with the buyer once or twice a year, just like I did with other chains that we did business with.
Did Real Water provide Mr. Walters free home delivery?
When we started, and you brought that up in my deposition.
Well, actually, we looked at some invoices, did we not?
Right, but you brought it to my knowledge during the deposition.
And why did Real Water give the buyer of Terrible Herbst free home delivery?
Well, when we started the home delivery program, we would try to use that to entice anyone to do business with us. It was we believe that the water, the product is amazing. This is an unfortunate situation. I was a true product of the
Let's stick with
product.
the question, okay?
Well, we were getting people to like the water. If you like
So
the
you gave
water,
everybody home delivery free? It wasn't just Mr. Walters, the buyer for Terrible Herbst? Everybody got free home delivery? Did you
No.
call up?
no,
That didn't happen, did it?
no.
You gave it to him for a reason, didn't you?
I was just trying to explain that.
Okay? And the reason was he was helping you promote the product, right?
No, the reason was if we believed if you become a product of the product, then you will truly believe in the product. And it was successful and that's what worked. So that's why we did it.
What is a display board?
In regards to real water,
Yeah.
a display board was something that we, a poster basically that we put on foam that stood up in the back of the case.
Did Real Water put display boards in Terrible Herbst stores?
I'm sure we did. We put them in a lot of stores. We try to put them everywhere.
Okay. Okay. And if you put a display board in the Real Waters, in the Terrible Herbst store, that would have had to been approved by Terrible Herbst first?
If they were in there and if we put them in all the stores, yes, but we tried to sneak them in and put them everywhere. It was just the way we advertised our product.
Okay. At one point, did Real Water also put some sort of hard copy ad on the gas pump?
We, yes.
Can you explain to the jury what that is?
Well, at one point we had, if you go to any gas stations, the pumps themselves usually have, save 5 cents on gas or go get a Snickers bar or go get a Monster drink. So we went and paid for, I don't remember what size they are, 30 inch by 30 inch, whatever it is, of Real Water, and we put them in the pumps.
So you took something 30 inches by 30 inches and you stuck it on the pumps?
It's slid, it's actually made,
It slides
where it
into the
slides
pumps?
in.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And that was approved by Terrible Herbst.
Yes.
And how long did that program run?
I don't recall.
Well, you wouldn't just go to all that trouble for a one-day promo, right?
Well, we ran if I recall correctly, it was a 2 for 3 promotion that we ran, and that we would have advertised that on those pumps. And as I mentioned earlier, we did run that for several years.
Okay.
That don't mean the ad stayed up there that long though, but
Okay. Could you look at Plaintiffs Exhibit 23, it's in your book, and then you put the title 23. Is
wait, this thick book or the small book?
the thick book's your deposition, so let's go back to the exhibit book, it'll be the third one in 23. Can you put that on the screen? This is an exhibit shrunk.
Appreciate it. Thank you, counsel.
Mr. Randolph, you've seen that before, right?
I have.
In fact, you're actually referenced in here on page, page 14.
Correct.
Okay, 14, can we blow that up, sure? Okay, that's you, Mr. Randolph, right?
That is.
Okay. And you provided that information for this business plan?
I'm sure, yes.
No, well, the information's accurate, right? I mean, you were the manager for Mr. Mosley and also Diego Corrales.
That's not a true statement. I assisted in the
You were
career.
assisted them. You were in their camp, okay, can we say that? Is that the way to say it?
That's the way you say it.
Okay, great. All right, but this information is accurate. With regards to you, with regards to you. Now, if we flip over to page I think it's third, let's go through it. Let's go through page by page, just probably faster. Okay. So about 5 pages in, we have a picture of a woman there. Show that to the jury, Shane. Who is that, Mr. Randolph?
In the top.
Yeah.
That is Amy Jones.
And is she related to Brent Jones?
She's the wife of Brent Jones.
And that says that there was some sort of 30-second video involving Mrs. Jones?
Yes,
Was there a 30-second video involving Mrs. Jones?
yes,
And you were present when that video was filmed?
yes.
Okay. And we flip through the book again. We get to page 10. There's information about sales. See the part where it says, quote, Americans spent $21.7 billion on bottled water in 2011. It's on page 10.
Yes,
Did you provide that information?
no.
Do you know where it came from?
It looked like they quoted an article in the News Watch.
Okay. And you know if that's accurate information?
No,
Well, whether it's 21 billion or 20 billion or 22 billion, the bottled water market was a big market in 2011.
yes,
Okay.
still is.
Okay. Now, on the page 12, could you go to that, please? Could you highlight the part about the video, Shane? Page 12 talks about a 30-second video commercial, right?
Yes,
And that's the one we talked about with Amy Jones, the woman, right?
yes,
And it says there, quote, "It has done particularly well at the Terrible Herbst gas station chain in Las Vegas with approximately 100 locations." Did I read that right?
yes.
Do you agree with that statement?
I mean, that's, I thought it did well, but that's an opinion. That's
Okay.
not a fact.
And when you thought it, well, you actually saw the Amy Jones commercial on the pumps at Terrible Herbst.
I did.
And why do you think it did well?
I don't think it was the commercial that did well. I just think that our product was a great product and we finally priced it at the right price.
Okay.
And it did well because of that, not necessarily because of the commercial.
And how many times did you see the commercial on the pumps? Did you go to Terrible Herbst on a regular basis?
I did.
Okay. And so you saw the commercial there on a regular basis?
I mean, you just gotta catch it while you're there. They advertise a lot of things on those, so just because I'm there for 3 or 4 minutes doesn't mean I'm gonna, one, pay attention to the screen, and two, that I'm gonna see it, because it's in a rotation amongst other brands that's being advertised.
You would gas up at least once a week at Terrible Herbst?
Yes,
And so you saw this commercial dozens, hundreds, what? How many times on pumps?
well, the commercial didn't run the entire time that our product was inside Terrible
I'm just
Herbst.
asking you how many times you saw it.
A handful of times.
Okay. So that means 5.
I can easily say, I bet I saw it at least 5 times.
Okay, great. Now, when that commercial was placed on those pumps, Real Water didn't actually get into Terrible Herbst's software and program into play, did they?
No.
How was that, how did that commercial wind up on those Terrible Herbst pumps?
We filmed it and obviously we provided to them. I don't remember how, when and exactly. Did we email them a link? Did we give them a hard drive? I don't know. I don't remember. But we provided it to them and someone on their team would have had to upload it.
Did you watch this commercial with Mr. Walters?
That I watched the commercial, I doubt it.
Did you give the commercial to Terrible Herbst?
Yeah, either me or someone provided it to Terrible Herbst to review.
Okay, good. Now, on page 11 of the business plan, let's go back. And if you want to look at 10, this is kind of your marketing plan, your marketing strategy, right? Profile of distribution channels, do you see that statement?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the distribution channels you were really trying to hit up were convenience stores in affluent areas.
I didn't write this, sir. I try to get the product everywhere.
Okay.
If you're drinking water, I was trying to sell you water.
But you did target convenience stores,
Every convenience store,
including Terrible Herbst.
including Terrible Herbst.
Okay, let's talk about MMA. Did Real Water have some sort of association with the MMA?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what that association was?
Real Water, because of the healthy product that it was, we went after those that were more health conscious. So that's the reason why the product was more into the natural food channel before we introduced it into the convenient food channel, like your regular retailers. Well, we used to get sponsorship opportunities for us to go and pay the sponsor to be part of all of these different organizations. Well, we decided to keen in on the MMA, the amateur MMA, because there's an organization called Tough Enough here in town that used to put on amateur shows almost on a, if not a monthly basis, every other month. And so what we decided to do is work a deal with them where we were providing them with free product. In return, we would get advertisement, things of that nature. We felt like athletes are definitely going to be concerned with what they put in their body. So we have the healthy product. So we want to get it in front of those people. When they're out there at the gyms and they're, everybody sees them with the water, they're going to want the water as well. So we used to sponsor Tough Enough. And then Brent Jones decided, well, what if we, because of my background in the boxing industry, well, what if we started our own organization? And now, instead of us having our product in front of people for a small time period, because that one fighter has the product or they see the ad come on the TV screen or whatever, what if we put our own show on where we now have a captive audience for 4 or 5 hours, and we control what's on the TV, and we control what's on the mat, and we can have our name and the product branded everywhere. So we established Real MMA, which was an amateur MMA fight organization. And the whole purpose of it was to brand the heck out of Real Water.
Did you approach Terrible Herbst about being involved in this promotion?
As well as every other account we had our product in here in Vegas.
But you made a specific proposal to Terrible Herbst, right?
I'm not gonna say this. I probably did give them a proposal. You showed it to me earlier, but I also gave it to others as well.
Could you look at the first and second document under tab 62216? 622.
Yes.
Okay, got it?
Yep.
Okay. Did you make a proposal to Terrible Herbst about this MMA program?
Yes, as well as others.
And who did you send the proposal for Terrible Herbst to?
I sent it to Mark Walters.
And approximately when?
This says June 22nd, 2016.
Do you remember Terrible Herbst became involved? Do you remember one way or the other?
I don't think they ever.
Another 7 years. Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't think they ever they didn't sponsor us. They didn't get involved. Definitely what I was asking of them.
Okay. Let's flip over to the tab that's labeled 61019. Could you please?
No.
Okay, does that refresh your recollection that you sent another email to Mr. Walters on that day?
On June 10th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and what was the subject of that? Why? Why did you send an email on that day?
It says here, Real Water July and August promotion.
Okay. Did you discuss doing a July and August promotion for Real Water at Terrible Herbst with Mr. Walters in or around June 2019?
That's what this email says, yes.
Can you recall that?
Yes.
And is this the same kind of promotion 2 for 3 that we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the last line, it says something about getting back on the pumps. Do you see that?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Like I said, it's been 7 years ago, but advertising on the pumps, whether that be those 30 inch signs or whatever we talked about earlier, or the video.
Okay. And why did Real Water want to get back on the Terrible Herbst pumps in June of 2019?
When people see the product advertised, they sometimes react.
And could you flip to the one before that? Say June 10th, 19 email from Amy Jones to Mr. Breeden.
July 10th?
June 10th. June 10th, 19, it's labeled Amy to Breeden, Walters.
Mine says July 10th.
Okay, that's the image showing one with the, can I approach you?
Sure.
Sorry, we should have numbered these. Okay, it's this one here.
All right.
The only thing we ask is one person at a time speaking since you're moving, okay, good. Our microphones pick up any sounds, we just need to make sure one person at a time speaks. Okay, no worries.
Got it?
I don't.
Okay.
I have July 10th. I have a July 10th, Amy to Breeden, Walters.
Okay, great. Now the one right before, the page before, there's 2 pages in there. See that one? The July 2nd one? Same area.
Okay, I got you.
Okay,
I
got
got
it.
it now.
See?
I'm
See,
sorry.
there's 2, right?
All right, I'm sorry.
So my question is, did you know that Amy Jones was also approaching Terrible Herbst, asking that the gas pump asked you to resume?
I apologize. I don't see what it is that you're asking about. I'm sorry. You can.
Okay. You want to approach you?
Yes.
July.
Now, just reference the tab number you're referring
June
to.
2.
I don't have that. I don't have that. I thought it was at June 10th, but that is not saying anything.
Okay. Okay, with me?
Under July 10th. That's under July 10th.
Okay, great. Did you know that Amy was also talking to Terrible Herbst about getting the videos back on?
I'm sure she would. I mean, I don't recall exactly, but if this email says it, then she did.
And were you allowed to put the commercials back on the pumps in 2019?
I don't think so. I don't recall, but I don't remember seeing them. We filmed another 30-second commercial, and
Is this the beauty pageant one? Or is this a different one?
beauty pageant one. No, it's probably a different one.
Can you tell me what you recall about that third commercial?
It was a commercial with Amy, and the gentleman, I can't think of we kind of copied a commercial with the distinguished gentleman with, I think cognac or something like that.
The most interesting man of the world?
There you go. We tried to
Right.
copy that and use Amy, and it just didn't,
Didn't take off?
people didn't like it too much.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's get back to June 2019. Did you discuss doing a 2-for-3 promotion with Mr. Walters?
Again, that promotion was probably already in place and ongoing.
Okay, would you take a look at 610-19 Randolph to Walters tab, please? Trying to go in order. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, does that refresh your recollection that you discussed another promo with Mr. Walters in or about June 2019?
Yes.
And what kind of promo was that?
Still 2 for 3.
Okay, same kind you were doing before?
Uh, Yes,
And did that promo get approved by Terrible Herbst?
do we have any email that,
Do you remember if it got approved by Terrible Herbst?
this is what I can recall. We ran 2 for 3 promotion for years. And then at one point, Mark Walters moved everybody from 2 for 3 to 2 for 4. This may be the time I'm asking, can we go back to a 2 for 3? I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, let's try to explain the difference first. So 2 for 3 meant you got 2 bottles for $3, right?
Yes,
And 2 for 4 meant the customer had to pay another $4. I mean, you had to pay $4.
to get the same 2 products that at one point was at $3.
So at one point, you and Terrible's were running a 2 for 3, yes?
Yes,
Then you moved to a 2 for 4.
yes.
Remember when?
I do not remember when.
And was that at Terrible's request, or was that something that you decided?
At that point, it came from Terrible's because they wanted to make more profit margin. At the 2 for 3 promotion, they wasn't making enough money.
Okay, so that means Terrible's asked you to do the 2 for 4, so Terrible's can make more money?
They didn't ask us, they just changed it. When we went for 2 for 3 promotion, other brands came down to 2 for 3 promotion. And they got to the point where we're all were at 2 for 3. And Terrible Herbst decided to move the price up to 2 for 4. I can't tell you.
Okay, great. You weren't charging them for that water, were you? Or were you charging?
What do you mean?
When it was either 2 for 3 or 2 for 4, were you charging Terrible's?
Well, technically, Real Water was not, Terrible Herbst didn't buy anything from Real Water. They actually bought it from Nevada Beverage.
Right.
We sold to
They were
Nevada
the
Beverage.
middleman, right?
What's that?
Nevada Beverage was the middleman.
They are the distributor, yes.
And you were working with Terrible's on the market, right?
I was working with Terrible's because that's who was actually selling the product, but they bought it through Nevada Beverage because that's the way we had to do it.
Okay, let's get back to the 2 for 3 and 2 for 4. So was that free water you were giving?
No.
Was it reduced rate water?
Yes, it was, yeah, sure.
Okay. So you would sell water to Terrible's or through Nevada Beverage under what the normal rate was so they could do this promo. Is that right?
We sold water to a distributor for a certain price. However, if I went and worked a deal with a retailer to where we wanted to discount it and run promotions, then usually the brand would have to give some type of a rebate or something per case to offset. Retailers work off margins. They want to make a certain percentage. When they go on promotion, they usually take a little bit less margin. They'll take a little bit less. However, it got to the point where when we went 2 for 3, everybody wanted to go 2 for 3. And eventually Terrible Herbst said, we need to make margin. Even if we sell less product, we need to make more money. And they went to a 2 for 4 promotion.
Okay.
If at that time, if I'm asking him to go back to a 2 for 3,
Mhm.
because I don't recall the times and the dates and all of that, then I must have been asking, at that point, we must have been at 2 for 4, and I'm asking him, can we at least go back to a 2 for 3? And I offered an incentive to do so.
Okay, and when you look at the last line of that, and just read it to yourself.
Is this still available?
No, the last line of the June 10, 2019 email. I think you flipped the emails on it.
We would also like to start back promoting on the pumps.
Yeah. Did you ask Mr. Walters yet again to go back on the pumps?
Yes.
What did that mean? You want to run a commercial on the pumps?
Either the 30-inch, yes, I want to advertise. Any opportunities I had, I want to advertise.
And why is it you keep asking to be on the pumps? Why do you want to be on the pumps as opposed to behind the store or in the store? Why do you want to be on the pumps?
Well, people pull up to pump gas. And anytime you want to advertise a product, you want to advertise a product.
Because that's where the eyeballs were.
Well, they're gonna spend time pumping gas, so we would like to try to advertise anywhere. If we could paint their building blue with Real Water, we would do it. And this is just not with Terrible Herbst. We did this with everybody. I mean, you keep pulling up Terrible Herbst, but we did this with everybody. It wasn't just Terrible Herbst. We were just trying to sell a product.
Let's take a look at the next one in your book. The following one, which should be dated 2/5/20. The tab's dated 2/5/20, but it refers to a June 28, 20 email ID. Or January 28, I'm sorry.
Counsel, can you say that again, please?
The tab on the book says 2/5/20, but the email is dated January 28, 20.
Appreciate it, thank you.
You got that, sir?
I do.
Okay. Does that refresh your recollection that you sent Mr. Walters an email on or about January 28, 2020?
I'm sure this is my email.
And what was the subject of that email?
It says Real Water Partnership.
Real Water Partnership. That would be the Real Water Partnership with Terrible Herbst?
I use the word partnership when it came to any of our retailers or anybody that purchased our product. I just thought that was a stronger word to use rather than, it's not a vested interest on either party. It's just me and my verbiage that I chose to use when I would.
You called Terrible Herbst your partner, yes?
Yeah, but that don't mean they called me a partner.
Well, they did call you a partner, did they not?
I don't know. We're not a partner as far as any type of vested interest.
Okay. Why don't we flip over to, just gonna skip ahead a little bit, to the 11/13/20 email, 11/13/20. That's an email from Terrible Herbst to you, correct?
Yeah. Well, it's to a lot of people.
Okay, but that's from Mr. Walters to you, right? You and a lot of people.
To a lot of retailers, yes.
And what does Mr. Walters call you in that email?
He doesn't call me anything.
Well,
It
what is
says
this
partners
word
on there.
what is the fourth word on the top? What is that word, sir?
It's a partner marketing meeting.
Partner. So Mr. Walters called you a partner.
He mentioned me in an email that has a subject that says 2021 Terrible Supplier Partner Marketing.
So you called him a partner, or you called Terrible's partner, and he called you a partner, right?
I used the terminology partnership.
Okay.
He used the word partner in a subject.
Okay, whether it was a partnership or not, it was a very close working relationship, was it not?
As close as we sell them product and they sell it to retailers. I don't get that question because, no, it wasn't a close relationship. I was not a friend of Mark Walters. I was not a friend of anybody at Terrible Herbst.
So you going into his office 15 to 20 times, you sending him dozens of emails back and forth over the years, you giving him free water to the house, you calling each other partner, he calling you partner back, you don't think that's a close relationship?
No, I never called him a partner. I said partnership, and he used the word partner in a general email. We did not have a close relationship.
Okay, whether you,
I need you all to approach for a brief moment. We can turn to white noise, please.
now, sir, could we go to the February 10th, 2020 email? You got it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and did you send an email, I guess that's actually January 28th, right? Send an email to Mr. Walters on January 28th,
Yes.
and you want to do some more promotions with him, right? Right?
I was just trying to read it. It's
Okay.
since 4 years ago. It does discuss some marketing opportunities.
Okay. And on the bottom of the second paragraph, you talk about the pumps. Do you see that?
Yes.
And does this reflect your recollection that you reminded Mr. Walters that real water was once on the gas pumps?
Yes, I said we once were featured at the pumps,
And you wanted to be back on those pumps, didn't you?
and we would love the opportunity to do that again.
And he let you back on those pumps, did he not?
I don't recall.
Okay. Would you take a look at the second exhibit, which is admitted exhibit 22. Please, Shane, you can put it up on the screen for Drew. See that, sir?
I do.
And that was the real water advertising program that Terrible Herbst approved for August and September of 2020, was it not?
I'm not sure. I would have to see the documentation supporting it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Would you take a look at exhibit, I'm sorry, Mr. Randolph, give me 1 sec. Okay. Would you take a look at the it's dated 10/16, Randolph's reading on your tab.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that an email you got from Mr. Breeden?
It is.
And who was Mr. Breeden?
He worked in the marketing department at Terrible Herbst. His title says Vice President of Marketing.
Okay. And he was another Terrible Herbst person you worked with, right?
A little bit.
Okay. And in that email, is he telling you the results of the August and September Terrible Herbst real water promotion?
Yes.
And what were the results of that promotion?
We gave away 12,000 bottles of water in August and 11,000 in September.
So that's a total of 23,239 bottles of water, right?
If that's what that adds up to be, yes.
And how much is that worth at street prices?
Those are our half-liter bottles. I think they were selling for 99 cents, $1.29, something like that.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
so you gave away about $30,000 of real water to Terrible Herbst for this promotion, right?
Yeah, we donated the water, yes.
And Terrible Herbst gave it to their customers free, right? Right?
Yes.
And Terrible Herbst did that because they wanted those people at the gas pumps to go into the stores and potentially buy other things, right?
I would assume that's what they would want it to be.
Well, they told you that's what they want, didn't they?
I know that they have a very small percentage of people that pay for gas go inside the stores. So
And they
we
want
try
it-
to entice them to go inside the store by offering different promotions.
Right, they want these people instead of just pumping, they want these people instead of pumping gas to go inside and buy stuff, right?
Objection, Lax Foundation calls for speculation.
Sustained on both ends, and then it was just last state.
Did they discuss with you their objective of having people going from the pump and into the store and buy stuff?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Second.
There's
There's
a
one more
bunch
people
of
talking, I need to hear that question again, please.
Did Terrible Herbst discuss with you their objective of having people come into the store to buy things?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Okay. You all gonna need to approach for a brief moment, and clerk would turn on some white noise. I'm just gonna rephrase that, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Okay, did one of the vice presidents, either Mr. Walters or Mr. Breeden, ever discuss with you conceptually why it would be potentially advantageous for Terrible Herbst to have people come in from the pump into the store?
I can recall a conversation, I don't know if it was Breeden or Walters that kind of mentioned that whatever percentage it is, like I think it's a lower amount, a low percentage of people that go get gas that actually go inside the stores. So it does make sense that they would want to put together a program or allow people to try to advertise or whatever the situation may be to get people to come inside the store.
Okay, would you describe the Terrible Herbst advertising over the years, all of it, so just lump it all together? Would you describe that as instrumental?
Advertisement is instrumental with any brand. And again, we did this with everybody, not just Terrible Herbst. We didn't just try to go after Terrible Herbst and say, do this. Anybody that had a TV screen, anybody that let you advertise on pumps, whether that be Green Valley Grocery, Speedy Mart, any smoke shop, we did the exact same routine.
Okay, but you described Terrible Herbst as instrumental, did you not?
It's a big chain. It's the biggest chain here in Vegas.
Right, so it was instrumental, right?
Well, it's nice that when you work hard and get people to agree to do what you come up with and they do it, that's a good feeling. So we did it everywhere though. It just was not Terrible Herbst.
Could you take a look at your deposition, page 74, line 15, please?
Yes.
74, line 15.
Okay.
And read that to yourself. Done?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection as to what word you used at the time of your deposition as to the Terrible Herbst real water marketing effort?
I just used the same word. I said they were a big account. That's what I said right here. Yeah, they were a big account.
Okay, what about the question being instrumental? And you said, yeah.
You asked, but Mark, Mr. Walters, and Terrible Herbst were instrumental. Is that fair?
And you said,
And I said, yes, they were a big account. I just said they were a big account here too.
Okay. All right. Did there come a time that your status with real water changed slightly from salaried employee to independent contractor?
I don't, yeah, I became an independent contractor. I was always commissioned on salary.
Okay, and when you made that change, that was just internal at real water as opposed to something you broadcast to the world?
It was definitely something that internal at Real Water. I don't know if I mentioned at that point to all the accounts because in my independent contract agreement, I still was responsible for, I named so many accounts that I was responsible for. So I don't recall if I reached out to each one of them and said, hey, I'm not a W-2 employee anymore. I am a 1099 contractor. I don't know if I did that.
Well, isn't it true that Terrible Herbst didn't have a clue that you became an independent contractor?
It could be possible. I don't know. I've never talked to him.
Why don't we take a look at deposition again, page 90, line 10.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Your deposition, page 90, line 10, 10 through 13.
Page 90?
Page 190,
Oh,
lines 10 through 13.
okay.
Okay, does that refresh your recollection as to whether or not you told Terrible Herbst about your change in status?
Again, when you told me when I went through that 4.5-hour deposition that I would get a chance to read and make corrections, you never gave me that. So it does say right here that I didn't go and tell people in 2015, hey, guess what, Terrible Herbst, I'm no longer a W-2 employee, I'm an independent contractor.
What else does it say?
And I just said that
What else
earlier.
does it say, sir?
It says, I mean, they didn't have a clue. And I just said that earlier, that I don't recall going around telling them the named accounts that happened.
Okay, and that's the truth. They didn't have a clue with your change in status, did they?
Probably didn't. That didn't change my service.
I didn't say it did. Okay. Now, did there come a time in the fall of 2020 that you became aware of a number of people potentially getting sick from drinking real water?
During my deposition, you brought up some things that I read that made sense at the time.
Okay. Well, did you have a conversation with Mr. Blaine Jones about all these people getting sick?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I had it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What was the question?
Did there come a time in the fall of 2020 that you became aware that there were a number of people getting sick?
If it's regarding why I'm sitting here today, yes, I do recall.
Okay. And did you have a discussion with Mr. Blaine Jones about that?
I did.
And he was the executive, or maybe he was just the vice president, but he was an officer of Real Water, right?
He's the owner's son, so I don't know what title, whatever title he had at the time, but it was on the same.
And did you tell Mr. Jones about these people getting sick that you heard about?
Blaine Jones or Brent Jones?
Blaine Jones.
I did have a conversation with Blaine Jones.
And did you discuss the possibility of a recall with Blaine Jones?
I did.
And tell the jury what you told Blaine Jones.
When I learned of one, a family member, two close friends, family member of mine got sick. Blaine, Real Water actually moved there.
Let's not get into that. Just tell me what you told Blaine.
Okay, so Blaine was responsible for the 5-gallon plant that stayed here in Vegas.
Let's not get into that. Let's just get straight to the conversation with Blaine.
Okay, so, but I knew Blaine became ill. Blaine Jones became ill at one point. I thought it was COVID. They didn't want people to know, and so they just kept sweeping under the rug. Oh, he just ill. Well, it wasn't until a family member of mine fell ill, and then he was in the hospital for 4 days. And then when he got out of the hospital, another person close to the family became ill with the same problem. So at that point, I went down to the office, and there was chatter about, people calling up complaining about the product. So at that point, I went to Blaine and said, Blaine, I'm not trying to get into your personal business, but I know you were sick around November.
Doesn't he say what he said?
Because the witness stating what he said to Blaine. I told Blaine I'm overruled.
He was talking about chatter in the office.
Overruled, and the person, like,
So when it was brought to my attention that people were,
Go on.
just
Hold on.
so ladies and gentlemen, jury. So the court's overruled the objection, so the witness can continue his answer. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
so I went to Blaine and asked him and said, listen, I'm not trying to get into your business, but I know you were sick. Do you mind telling me what happened? And when he started explaining to me what happened, I'm like, dude, I got 2 people that got sick also. And I'm like, it has to be the water. I go, it has to be the water. I said, and this is the 5-gallon water because
Let's
that's,
not get into what kind of water it was.
that's the only water they drink. It was the
No, but tell me
5-gallon
what you
water.
told- Tell me what you told Mr. Jones.
Okay, so I said, you must do a recall. He said, well, he said, at first I thought it was the water as well, but then I went and did all these tests and everything was okay, so it couldn't be the water. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I know 3 people now who's been sick, and the only thing you guys have in common is that you drink the same water.
Okay.
So then I told him, you need to do a recall. You need to get ahead of the game and do a recall. And he refused to do a recall. I went back to the office again. I learned of another person that got sick. And I went back to the office again. And once again, they just refused to, he said that they,
You talked to Mr. Jones again.
yeah,
On
he
a
said
different
that,
day.
yeah, they said that he,
Yes, on a different day. You went back to.
yes.
Okay.
That it was only a certain route, because again, it's the home delivery, they got routes in the home deliveries. It's not,
Let's
and
focus on what you talked to Mr. Jones.
this is what I talked to Mr. Jones
Okay,
about.
go ahead.
So it was, he said they found it on a certain delivery route of the home delivery. And it wasn't, he was trying to downplay it a little bit, I would assume. And I'm like, well, dude, you need to do something. You need to be ahead of the curve. And
And he refused.
obviously he refused, because I never heard about it.
Stop. Now, you said Mr. Jones got sick. Would that have been in the early part of October, specifically October 5th, 2020?
I just know that, I know someone who got sick after Halloween, so I'm gonna say, I knew Blaine was sick before that. I don't know what dates.
Okay, and Halloween is usually the end of October.
October 31st, I believe.
October 5th, Nevada Day, right? Okay.
It's not Halloween,
You got me,
it's
Mr. Randolph. Okay. So the person that you knew got sick on Halloween.
After, they went into the hospital a few days after Halloween.
So does that help you pin your conversation with Blaine Jones to sometime in the early part of November?
Yes.
All right. And did Rio Water do a recall in November?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Did they do it in December?
No, not that I'm
Did
aware
they
of.
do it in January?
Not that I'm aware of.
They do it in February?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Randolph. I have no further questions.
Okay, this juncture, hold just a moment. Cross-examination by Real Water.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, feel free to proceed.
Your Honor, could I remind you just to look at his, can we approach?
Sure. Now,